reason that Christianity doesn't actually make sense is because it's not a religion that's created around the teachings of Jesus.
All right, well, this is news to me, but let's check it out.
Let's not forget that Jesus had a powerful movement that was not afraid to be killed, to be persecuted, and this was a huge threat to Rome. So what they did is they got in front of the movement and created a religion that would still serve them in the end. How they did that is by deifying Jesus and making him seem like he's equal to God. And yet over and over, Jesus clearly distinguished himself from God, saying, the Father is greater than I, serve only the Father, worship only the Father has sent me. He makes it very clear that he is not God.
So here's the thing, guys. Whenever someone starts to quote the book of John to tell you that Jesus never claimed to be God, you've got them right where you want them. Critics often do this, Muslims do this all the time, and they don't realize the context of the book that they're quoting. Because the very intro of John is him telling his audience that Jesus is God. He starts saying, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And just a few verses later, in verse 14, he tells us that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as the only Son from the Father. This is clearly Jesus. Which means everything that you read in the book of John must come through the lens of John viewing Jesus as God. All Jesus is doing throughout the book of John is drawing out the unity between himself, God the Son, and God the Father.
And yet 300 years later, Rome and a bunch of early church fathers create a creed and put Jesus up in the Holy Trinity, which separated us from him because now we can never be like him.
Christians have believed that Jesus was God from the very beginning, including the earliest church fathers. Here we have Ignatius, literally born in the 1st century, saying that Jesus is God. We have Justin Martyr, who's early 2nd century, saying that Jesus is God. We have Ignatius, late 2nd century, saying that Jesus is God. Because all of the early church fathers believed that Jesus was God. This wasn't made up 300 years after Christianity began.
But if you read just Jesus directly, it is very clear that he never said that he was God.
So let's close this out at looking at Jesus' direct words of claiming to be God. In Matthew 7, Jesus calls himself Lord, Lord. Scholar Jason Staples has pointed out that this is a direct allusion to the Tetragrammaton in the Greek Septuagint. The Greek Septuagint is the Old Testament that they were using in the 1st century that was in Greek. And the words Kyrios, Kyrios, or Lord, Lord, always represented the divine name, Adonai Yahweh. So when Jesus is calling himself Lord, Lord, he's calling himself Adonai Yahweh, the Lord of all. Because Christianity has taught from the very beginning, because the teachings come from Christ himself, that he is God.